Oh, I want to welcome our viewers to Kennesaw Happenings. We're broadcasting from Overture, and we have a guest in the studio. We've known each other for many years. She's a social media expert, so I wanted to kind of bring you up to speed a little bit, and also we're going to have a conversation with Celeste. So, Celeste, tell us who you are and the business you're in and who you serve out there so our viewers will know who they're talking to or listening to.
Okay, well, I'm Celeste Simmons and I run a business called bigsocialmarketing.com. And the kind of customers that we serve are service-based businesses, the like home services. We serve them with Google Ads as well as social media management. And then we also serve restaurants. Those are kind of our niche markets. We also have a few real estate clients, but those are basically the mainstays of our business.
Good. Well, we're in a social world. So how did you get in the business? What was the reason for moving into that? Because it's not as old as regular business advertising.
So we started with just being a social media company. We found that a lot of companies, as a business, you don't know which pages that you should focus on. And it was
Yep.
very difficult because social media networks kept coming. They just kept coming on the web. And it was like, we can't do everything, is what the company owner would say, or the business manager. And so they were like, okay, we know we need to focus, but we don't know what we need to focus on. Can you help us? So we kind of took it over. We would take over companies' social media presence and give them a consistent message. We would write the content for them, we would post it, and we would also respond to anybody that asked a question. Because if the business manager or the business owner, if they're in the office or they're in the field selling, nobody was watching their social media. So that's kind of where we came in. We made sure they had a presence, that it was consistent, and then we also made sure that someone was talking to their customers. Because after we got access to their social media, anybody that had a question, it would come in through our email as well. So we were always watching. So that really made the business owner feel a lot better, knowing that someone was watching and that, the social media wasn't just going to run itself. So somebody took over. We also, our other niche market is just basically small to mid-sized businesses, or the part where companies don't have the budget to hire a marketing person on their own. So that's where we came in, and we were kind of an outsourced marketing department because maybe they couldn't afford to pay somebody, $100,000 a year to sit and do marketing for them full time. So that's kind of where we came in. We were an outsourced marketing department, but we wrote in their voice just about their products or just about their services so that something was being said online all the time.
Yeah, it's so important because, as things shifted years ago to more online, people are looking at things on their phone. What do you see? Like, I'm always curious of what trends you see out there, being that you're so close to social media. What could you help our viewers with that you see out there coming, or just some wisdom out there, some insights?
I did not think in the beginning that TikTok was going to be as huge as it is, but it is here to stay, and it has gotten bigger every single year. In fact, it's actually, it's some people have navigated away from YouTube over to TikTok. Now, I still think YouTube video is a definite place that you need to be because video is huge with business marketing. So you still need to have a YouTube channel because that can be a link on your website. You can put videos on your website through YouTube. But in order to catch maybe a younger audience or a more diverse audience than what you may already have, you have to go to different social media networks than what you have done in the past. You can't be doing the same thing over and over and capture different people. So some of these newer platforms, this is where you're going to find a different audience. So I think mostly the advice that I typically give people is to make sure that you're not just focusing on the same social media pages like you always have. Make sure and get some of these others. You may want to bring in Pinterest. Pinterest was more talked about than it is now. However, it still is a big player. It's still one of the top 10.
Mhm.
So if you sell, whatever pieces of things that you sell, whatever widgets you sell, you still want to be on Pinterest. But I would also add TikTok to that as well.
Right.
Make sure that you diversify and keep YouTube going. So one thing to remember is that social media is never done. You have to keep adding the platforms.
Mhm.
You have to keep creating videos and keep posting them, and to just not forget it. Social media doesn't sleep, so we can't rest. If you want to grow your business and grow your followers, you have to keep it going.
Yes, I agree with you. And tell us, I was fascinated by TikTok, like a lot of people. I for personal reasons, stayed off of social media for about 10 months, but I'm reevaluating it. That's why we're talking. So we might be able to do something together here that enables, the echo effect and just what social media can do. But tell us about short form video. We have attention spans that are getting pretty small. What do you see like in just the general short form video format?
So when TikTok first started, a good example is they limited it to 60 seconds, but now they're expanding it. So it gives the audience or their viewers, it gives them a choice. If you don't have time, let's say you're just sitting down on your lunch break and you're just watching a few TikTok videos, you can scroll through and watch those 60-second or less videos, because let's say you only had 30 minutes and you just didn't want to get involved in something.
Right.
However, like I've noticed, let's say that you run a nutrition company, and some of these nutritional supplements that you wanted to talk about on your TikTok video, you had to go in a little bit more depth to explain how the nutrition supplement would help and who needs to take it and why. So that would stretch longer than 60 seconds. So now TikTok gives you an option. You can do a short little let's say a hook video where it's 60 seconds or less and get them interested. But you also have the option of the longer form video on TikTok now. So now you can do longer for those that are interested and do have the time. So it gives you a choice. And I think that was a really good move on TikTok's part. Now, the other thing I would say about TikTok, it's not just about that. Whatever video you make for that platform, put it on YouTube, because you still have loyal YouTube watchers.
Right.
You still have loyal Facebook feed watchers, as well as TikTok. So that same video, I would put it on all three platforms and just let those particular viewers see which one they like viewing it from.
That makes sense. Yeah, because the TikTok and the political connections and all the things that are going there, and countries banning it. I think as a company, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So diversifying, like you just said, by creating that one video and putting it on multiple platforms makes a whole lot of sense. Because hey, if one platform goes away, and I've had a YouTube channel shut down, all your videos go. And it's not fun, because there's not much that we can do as businesses to get that content back. If they say you violated something, there's not like you go before a 3-person board and give your side of the case. They just do it and you're done.
Oh yeah, that's true. And the same goes for reviews. I've had a couple of companies use third-party Google review sites, and all of a sudden, when Google re-updated their platform, they lost 100 reviews because they had been working on them from this third-party platform, and all of a sudden they were gone. So Google, which owns YouTube, they can do what they want. Always keep a backup. So they do it on a variety of platforms, and there's just nothing you can do sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, I had a client years ago, and they were a chiropractor, and somebody hijacked their Facebook page. And it took, I think, 6 to 9 months to get it back, and a couple $1,000s. And I had a guest on here, and I won't mention his name, but he didn't have a web page. He used everything he was doing was on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I think that's like waiting for something to happen, because if you don't own your content or have a central place where that content is, where you control it, I think you're playing Russian roulette with the social world.
Absolutely. Yeah, this one particular client that lost over 100 reviews, luckily they had them on their website. So they were still visible,
right?
Just not from Google, but they had to start their Google reviews over. But the original 100 were on their website. So that helped.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think they would have just been in tears, because that was just years of hard work.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, I once lost my Yelp account, and all they told me was I violated a policy.
Yeah.
And I lost 200 personal reviews that I was giving restaurants. And each time they would call me, I would say, well, I'll talk to you, but let me talk to somebody about losing all of these reviews that I spent years posting and giving feedback to the restaurants primarily. But I never got to first base. It was just, once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
You don't have a way to really plead your case.
I know, that's sad, but that's true. It's too much of it that's happening, and no one is overseeing that.
Yeah. And it makes sense, because of thousands of people, if you started getting into back and forth about, did you do this? Did you do that? I mean, they have to run a business. So I understand it, but when you're on the side where you get the short end of the stick, it's not fun.
Yeah.
So so what do you like to do for fun? I mean, I know you're in the social world, so tell us what Celeste likes to do when she's not working.
Well, I play piano. My mother was a piano teacher, so I play piano.
Okay.
And then I like to write. One of these days, I'm going to finish a couple of books that I have.
Yes.
I'm about 70% done, so maybe one day I'll finish those. And I'm also a foster parent, so I like to. I do foster children from usually it's teenagers, 12 and up. Okay.
That's, I was just meeting with actually the pastor of the church I go to. I'll give him a shout out, Grace Church at Town Center. They used to have, before COVID, a relationship with Cobb County foster kids. And that, because, when the COVID hit, everything got flipped upside down. And so the people that they were working with went on to do other things, and the new people came in, and of course you don't know who's who.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see if you can help them, because they're trying to reestablish some of their foster connections.
Very
but
nice.
Let's go back to, I know you said something, whenever I go divert to something, I might forget what I was thinking about, but there was, piano. You said piano. Yeah. Oh, writing. That was it. Now, I'll tell you this, Celeste, my partner, he's up in Canada, Jeff Bourgeois. He writes 1 book a day.
Oh my gosh.
So he had just got a client about, 3, 4, 5 months ago. The person had been writing the book for 10 years. So this guy is, if writing is a kind of a skill, which it is, I'm not saying it, he has perfected the ability to put books together quickly. So, just for our listeners out there, if you have a book in your head and you're 70% there, so that's pretty much you're close enough to the goal line, you get that across. But for the viewers out there that have a book and it's in their mind and they don't know how to do it, get a hold of, just put a comment in the section. We'll get back to you and help you get that book. Because one thing you want to do with books is, books are your legacy. So you can pass books on to friends and family. And so you can't, when you expire or when you leave us, it's not like, oh man, those books are gone if you haven't put them into print. So yeah. So about how many years have you been doing social media management?
I think it's been 12 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I had to calculate that out, that's probably pretty much the beginning of social media. Is that kind of correct or close to it?
I think it was the beginning when when social media started, it was just for people.
Right.
So it was really the beginning for when businesses got started.
Okay.
So when businesses realized that, hey, people are talking about us online and we're not even watching, we're not even listening, they had to get interactive. So that was really, that's when it was, is when the boom started transitioning over to that businesses had a presence and that they had to manage it.
Yeah. What do you see? Like, I know I liked LinkedIn and they were purchased by Microsoft. What have you seen change in the last couple of years with LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn now, like for people that are creators, you can get like a special badge or like a little snippet video on your LinkedIn profile if you take advantage of it. That's new. Also, LinkedIn started adding longer videos. In the beginning, one of the things that LinkedIn kind of took away that I wish they wouldn't have, the articles on LinkedIn were getting really good results. Now they're not getting as good of results. Now it still matters. If you're going to blog, put your blog on LinkedIn. I think it still matters.
Right.
But it used to go like straight up to the top with the articles. And now I think they've messed with the analytics a little bit. But then they also have videos. So it downgraded the article option, but I think it's helping with the video. So maybe the bandwidth of the platform just had to change. But those are the couple of things. LinkedIn has also added some of those little emoji things that didn't used to be available, and now it is. And you can copy some of those little emojis and copy them into your name to make your name stand out.
Right.
So people don't take advantage of that, but it looks really good. It's pretty eye-catching if people take the time to do it. So there's some additional LinkedIn features that I think they're moving in the right direction. With the only thing I didn't like being the articles. Yeah. The fact that they're taking away the analytic part to make it go higher.
Yeah, and makes sense too, because a person's educating people and they're getting their information out there. And I think I've seen, and I haven't seen an update on this, but it was a high percentage of the internet content was going to be video. This was a couple years ago. It was like 80% of what we consume is going to be video. So, the old readers probably lost a little bit of that traction in the content of articles, maybe. And now it's more TikTok videos and videos in general that people are wanting to watch and see.
Right.
What do you think? I'm kind of fascinated by the iPhone, and what I have discovered by virtue of retraining my brain on certain things is the digital nature of that phone, how much we are connected to that phone. Are you seeing something similar in your space that you're in? Is how much people are really using that phone for everything?
Oh yeah, it's kind of like in the olden days how you started to use a calculator and then you almost forgot how to do the long form of math. That's almost how it is like with a phone now, all these things that we have access to. I mean, when's the last time you drove somewhere new and you used a map? I mean, I haven't used a map in 15 years, I'm sure. Like an actual map. So, I mean, the other day when one was in front of me, I was like, wow, can I still read this?
Yeah, exactly. Open it up. Yeah, you know how you would open that thing up and you're turning it around and trying to get the north, south and all that. Yeah, that is true. And there's a guy, I'll give him a shout out, Jim Quick with Think. It's called Jim Quick with Limitless. And he's actually called the brain coach. And his story is when he was 5, he hit his head and got a brain injury. And that kind of slowed down his learning until he discovered a not different way of learning, but using the mind as a muscle. And what has happened is just what you said. We used to have to figure out how to get places, but we hit a button and Google takes us to that place. Or how many numbers do we remember? You just hit the number. You used to remember all your numbers of people. Now you just hit the number. So you're not using your brain to do things that your digital phone or your digital brain now has taken over. So yeah, it's definitely two-edged sword, I think, with smartphones.
Yeah, I read an article. I want to say it was in Time Magazine. There was, I don't remember who said it, but there was a guy that said, we should do something hard every day.
Right.
Force yourself to do something hard. In other words, something that doesn't come easy to you.
Right.
And maybe for some that's social media, but maybe for others it's using a map or whatever. But you know, that phone really keeps us connected, which is great. But it started out as communication. But now it's entertainment,
right?
It's instructions, it's directions, it's the lifeline in on some ways. But yeah, I think we're losing perspective on how to do things on our own to be independent of it.
Right.
And yeah, we have to remember to do the hard thing sometimes. Otherwise our brains are just going to go soft.
Yes.
So
no, you know, when you dig in, if people want to learn more about it, they just search Jim Quick, Kwik, and he really talks. There's so many videos out there. I think he has well over 1 million subscribers, and I've read his first book, and I have his second book coming. But he has taught me how to speed read, and I was the slowest reader out there. But you know, it's retraining your brain on doing certain things. Like you ever hear somebody go, "Oh, I'm not good at remembering names." Right. Well, you've just told your brain you're not good at it. Now, what he says is you just haven't trained yourself.
Yeah.
So if you train yourself to do certain things, names, whatever, hard things, just like you talked about, then that brain, that muscle is going to be used more. And we look at things like Alzheimer's, dementia, you know, a lot of it, as they study the brain, they see the different makeups of brains. And I think, you know, the old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Absolutely.
So I think, you know, we're challenged not to totally depend on that phone for everything. And you have to use that calculator or just figure out 2 + 2 is 4, not looking for the calculator to do your thinking for you.
Right.
Yeah. So what, as we wind down, Celeste, how can people get a hold of you?
So they can reach out to the website. It's bigsocialmarketing.com. Anything from the comment form comes right to me.
Okay.
Or of course they can find us on Facebook, which is it's Big Social Marketing Com.
Okay.
And then you can find me on LinkedIn by looking up Celeste Simmons, and then Big Social Marketing also has a page on LinkedIn.
Okay, that's awesome. And we'll put it in the show notes too. We'll put it, make it for our viewers that are maybe they're driving and they don't remember something. We'll make it easy for you.
Okay.
We'll put a link in there. So we always ask our guests, because we want people like yourself. Do you know of anybody that you think would be a good guest for our viewers in Kennesaw Happenings?
I do have a couple. I have one lady that is making some great products, she's almost like a chemist. She's making all natural body products, from soaps to salves to lip balms, and she's making it all herself, but she's just using 100% natural ingredients. And I really like her items. So I'll send you that one.
Okay.
And
that would be great.
Her website is LOTV Soaps, for Lily of the Valley Soaps.
Ooh, I like that.
But she sells a lot more than just soap.
Yeah.
So that would be one of them. And then I have another company called Stealth Video. He does video surveillance all around here. And there's been a lot of changes in the video surveillance industry.
Really?
So that would probably be really interesting, just based on And I think he said these started back in the VCR days.
Wow.
That would be pretty interesting.
Yes, that would be great. So I know Bartina, when we go live, she'll reach out to you and even just send us an email. We would love to have them on because, you know, sharing people's story and just giving people a chance to get to know you is a big part of the know, like, and trust that we all have to do before we do business with people. So Celeste, we always let people, our guests, have the final word, maybe an insight or two, or something you'd like to leave with our viewers.
Something I'd like to leave. What we were talking about earlier about do the hard things. If social media is hard for you, or if you just don't like it, I would say at least start some of the newer platforms. Maybe you haven't used the platforms that you would like. So if you haven't used YouTube, maybe start a channel and, you know, just ask someone to make a video for you if you don't like doing them yourself. Start a Pinterest or start a TikTok account, start using LinkedIn, start networking. You know, if you start utilizing these more, or either branch out and use a different one than you have before. That would be my advice, is to just don't just forget about it, to try something new, and maybe you'll like it, and maybe you'll find some interesting people to network with, people to connect to, and it will really help your business.
Awesome. That's really good, Celeste. We appreciate that. And we want to thank you for being a guest on Kennesaw Happenings and driving down from Canton into beautiful Kennesaw to come into our studio. Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you, Pete.